Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. This, of course, being a major talking point the day after the State of the Nation address. Today was supposed to be the deadline for a response from the President. What is the latest from your office?
Well, thank you for having me. The President requested an extension until the 28th of this month. And one of the reasons provided was that he was busy with other state matters, including preparing for the State of the Nation address, and the Public Protector has since acceded to that request by the President.
Since the announcement that the President was given this deadline, so much has been said in the public domain on either side of what is now being dubbed as a standoff between the Presidency and the Public Protector's Office. I'm sure your office would admit that this doesn't bode well for the work that you are trying to do, especially if you're facing such a serious investigation against the President in terms of the Executive Code of Ethics.
Well, the standoff exists in the imaginations of those that are making such claims. But as far as we are concerned, there is no tension between the Public Protector and the President, because the President understands that the Public Protector has a constitutional mandate to investigate complaints brought to her office. And in this case, she has a mandate to investigate alleged breaches of the Executive Ethics Code, and the President further understands that on receipt of such a complaint, the Public Protector is obligated legally to investigate such matters. So there is no tension between the two offices.
It is now public knowledge that the Presidency had asked for access to the person who laid the complaint that this investigation is based on, and that is the leader of the DA, Mmusi Maimane. We are told that that access to Mr. Maimane to cross-question him or whatever it pertains to be had been refused from the Public Protector's Office. Is that something that the Public Protector would be willing to revisit going forward? Well,
we have explained to the President and his legal team that our reading of the Public Protector Act, especially the provision in question, is that the implicated parties are entitled to question witnesses who have appeared before the Public Protector. In other words, those would be witnesses who would have been subpoenaed to come and give evidence to the Public Protector. And so Mr. Maimane does not fall within that category as a complainant, and we wouldn't want to place him as a complainant in a position where he's interrogated to a point where he feels like he's the one who's under investigation, when that is not the case. So the President, as an implicated party, is entitled to question witnesses, and Mr. Maimane is not a witness, he's a complainant.
Okay, now for those who don't understand all this legalese, they would ask that if somebody is a complainant in a matter, they would be asked to put something down on paper. But what you're saying is that that doesn't mean that he falls under the umbrella of being a witness per se.
Correct. That is our reading of the Act, is that Mr. Maimane merely complained. You'll recall that in terms of this law, the Executive Members Ethics Act, only members of Parliament and members of the Executive, and in the case of provinces, members of provincial legislature, are or have the right to file complaints of alleged contravention of the Executive Code of Ethics. Now, Mr. Maimane exercised his right in terms of that law to file this complaint, but he's not a witness. There are other people who were subpoenaed to appear before the Public Protector, and they gave evidence under oath. We understand the Act to be referring to those people who came here to give whatever evidence that has helped the Public Protector arrive at this point.
Are you able to tell us who some of these witnesses are?
Well, information that is already in the public has referred to Mr. Gavin Watson as one of those. The President also indicated that he wanted to question him. He would be one of those people, but I'm not at liberty to reveal the entire list.
There have been some criticism of the fact that the public protector had released this rather publicly in naming the president in this matter before it had been brought to a close. Would that have been a normal practice for that to be the case?
That is not true. The public protector did not announce this particular matter. In fact, we learned of it a few weeks ago, where a Sunday newspaper reported on the matter, and it alleged that it obtained the information from what it terms one of the president's confidants. So that's where the whole issue came from. It didn't come from us at all.
So if things had gone your way, this would have been kept under the radar for as long as possible until the public protector was able to complete all of its work, including getting a response from the president?
Yes, we prefer to conduct our investigations quietly and not out in the open. But sometimes we are forced to go on record and confirm certain things because information gets leaked, and once it's already out there, we have very little room to maneuver.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for that update.